Hello, my name is Leah. I'm the owner of MyDubaiMyCity.com, which is an online web TV. We started first as a video city guide and then moved to become like a web TV. So we create our own web series. I'm a bit nervous. Our objective is to replicate My Dubai, My City in different cities. We create like videos and we try to incorporate like brands in the video to help them target specific markets, which is right now Dubai. Yeah, and that's about it for My Dubai, My City. I have with me Tala, Clive, Livoria, and Kanal. Tala is from My Fash Diary, so you want to tell them a bit about My Fash Diary?
Sure. I started myfashdiary.com 4 years ago. It was just a fashion diary. I started it when I was at university, and now it's what I do on a full-time basis. And it's still a blog, but it's more lifestyle based. So I do talk about fashion, beauty, travel, lifestyle, and target Middle Eastern women or women that live within the Middle East.
Okay. Yeah. And could you tell me about We Are UAE?
Yeah, We Are UAE is a rotation curation account, which basically is an account where every week we have a new person who tweets from the UAE, and it shows about how the UAE is from different people's perspective. So every week we have a new curator who will talk about the UAE and interact with other people from around the globe about the country.
And how long have you been like running this for?
This has been running for almost a year now. In July we'll complete a year.
Okay, all right. So in terms of like social media, because we're talking today about trends, so like trends relate to social media. What do you use to promote your businesses mainly?
Okay, I'll
We'll start with.
One, on all the social media channels, I kind of dip into anything that's brand new. But I think the most active ones are Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, especially Instagram. I think that's probably the most active for me.
Okay. And what about you?
We mainly operate through Twitter and Instagram. We're not really on Facebook, but we have gained great momentum on Twitter and Instagram, because our account itself has formed its base on Twitter. So that's our main area. Instagram as well, because our curators like to share images, but mainly Twitter.
And you both have like your own websites, and on this side you have these social media like platforms to help you like boost your business, right?
For me, I think they're
I think for boosting a business, it really depends on what kind of business you're into. Sometimes some platform may help me, some platform may not help me. It's not necessary that I have to be on all the platforms to broadcast to my potential clients. For her it's very important she's present everywhere, because she's into a lifestyle industry where people from all platforms are interested in her. But for us, we are basically the whole crux is on Twitter. So Instagram is only additional to us, but Twitter is the main medium where people interact with everyone. We find a new curator every week. We have so in a year we'll have like around 52 new people who you did not know existed before, but now you know them. It's like that.
And can I ask you, when you started like We Are UAE, did you start it like with Twitter in mind, or did you
Yes.
how did it?
Rotation curation accounts are based on Twitter. Sweden was the first country to start it. So the whole idea is on Twitter. So we had to start that way. Clive was the one who actually got the idea that UAE is now too much into social media and everything, and we need one rotation curation account. So Clive and Lavanya both started the account. Lavanya was the first curator. I had no idea such thing existed. She only happens to be my sister's friend. So I followed the account and I came to know that something like this exists. I then linked to the Sweden account, the original one, and then slowly, accounts started popping up all around the world. So it is basically Twitter based.
Okay.
And rotation curation isn't limited to just countries. It extended to cities. It's extended to causes, to professions, to organizations. It's become a very wide topic to dip into. So you'll find rotation curation accounts only represented by journalists. There's one for climate change even. There's one for the environment. There's one for so many causes and so many ideas. So rotation curation has become a very, very popular concept in the very short time that it's existed on the internet.
Yeah, like for example, UAE as a country, like people think as UAE as an Arab country, oil rich, developing, but there's more to UAE than just that. Like, and that's what people will show through our account. People will perceive UAE in their way, and they will show it in their way, whatever thing is right. So that's how it works.
And for you, Tala, like when you started the My Fash Diary, did you start it with like Facebook in mind, Twitter in mind, Instagram in mind?
I don't know if Twitter existed then. Instagram definitely didn't. When I started my site, I mean, I didn't even look at social media, and I think once I got onto Twitter, it was still also brand new. I don't think it was developed here that well. But everyone was saying, you know what, social media is great, it boosts your traffic, and I think in the beginning that's what I came in and got addicted to. But I think later on you realize that social media is great for interaction, just like knowing who reads your site, knowing those people and seeing what works and what doesn't. It's definitely really interesting. I now people pay to get their stuff talked about on Instagram, Twitter, and it just proves to show how influential those channels are.
And in regards to social media and trends, because like I feel like there are two kinds of businesses. You have the ones that are trendsetters and the ones that are like trend followers. How do you perceive your business, and do you feel like to be successful and to be able to reach more people, you have to kind of be trend followers? And trend, like, I mean, for me, trend was related to fashion, right? Like, you follow a certain trend online. How does that work for your businesses?
I haven't followed any. I do everything spontaneous on social media, and I think that's what works with what I do. So I don't know how it works with.
We don't have any business trendsetters, but what I've seen from Facebook and from Twitter is that every brand wants to run a contest to promote their product. Every brand is running a contest every hour. Giveaways, like gifts, like mobile phones, iPads, iPad mini. So many giveaways are there. So that is one way to, I don't know whether you call them trendsetter or trend follower, because now everyone is doing it. So that is one way to promote your business on these social media platforms. The moment you start giving away gifts to everyone, people take notice of your handle, take notice of your page, and they click on your products and everything. You have, you on Twitter, basically you just have to retweet a tweet to win. It's so simple. There are cinemas in UAE like Grand Cinemas, Vox Cinemas, the Maidan IMAX. You just have to retweet their tweet and you get tickets, for premieres and all. So that's how they are setting trends, or maybe following trends. I don't know how that works, but that's how they are promoting their business online.
But you see also on Twitter, they have like the hashtag trends.
Yes,
what are the different, like if you go on Twitter, like every day you have like Dubai as a trend, or like, so do you use these trends in
Going back to your question of whether they're trendsetters or whether they're trend followers, I feel it's a combination of both. Now you have to understand one thing about the UAE is that it's a very small country. It's the people know each other very, very well. It's one person knows the other person. It's basically like it's quite small, and people reach the reach is quite fast. So something to develop, a trend to develop, doesn't take a lot of time in this country. It's quite fast. So I would say that it's possibly a bit of both. You start trend, and it's not very hard for people to start following it. I feel it's that way.
Okay. Like for your social media, okay, do you work with a specific strategy, or do you just like do you have a strategy that you follow, or do you go with like what the followers give you, or how do you go about your social media?
For me, I mean, if it works, I'll do it again. If it doesn't, then that's how I usually work. So I guess I try things out, and if it doesn't work, then I don't
do it again.
Yeah.
But what has worked more? Like when you post a picture, when you post an article, when you write something, what do you feel like, for example, in the world of fashion in Dubai, what works the best from
For me, visuals. That works really well, which is why my Instagram is probably the most interactive and probably the most active and people react to that. So for me, visuals is something that's huge, whether it's fashion or...
And visuals of what do you usually post?
You know what, whatever the feature is. So for instance, I mean, when I'm promoting something and there's a picture, people react to it a lot faster. I don't know if it's because of the language or people here just enjoy visuals a lot more.
Okay.
I don't know if that
And
answered
what-
your question, right?
No.
For me, a business usually depends on the type of business. For example, if you're like a movie, you can't you can't describe it. You have to use Twitter to like promote your movie or whatever. While for something else like fashion, for example, requires visuals. People need to see it. So that's how it works. So that's the way. For some people, you require Twitter, some Instagram, some Facebook. And I think if you want feedback from your consumers or your viewers, you require Facebook and Twitter, because you'll get a lot of feedbacks, some positive, some negative, and you know on where to work with.
But for We Are UAE, like, do you use mainly like visuals, like, or do you use text? What works best from your experience?
It depends, on the curator, because once we hand it over to the curator, the person who's handling the account for the week, the account is his or hers for the entire week. We don't interfere. It's like their own account, the way they want to share, It depends from person to person if they want to share pictures, videos of the country or not. It depends, some people love food bloggers and everyone, so they share pictures of what they are eating now, what they're eating then. Some people like sharing pictures of the places they visit in Dubai, in UAE. Some go to Fujairah, some go to Ras Al Khaimah, so they share pictures of their road trips and all that. Depends whether the curator is into that or not, because curators come from different backgrounds for us, some may be students, some may be corporate world, some may be from the fashion industry, some are photographers, some are food bloggers, some are accountants. So it depends, an accountant will not be posting pictures of fashion or anything. He talks only in numbers, so he tweets numbers. But it's not like that. Everyone has a hobby, so every person shares what interests them, So sometimes visuals help, sometimes visuals don't help. It's a two-way street, 24/7 on Twitter. Okay, I also use Instagram a lot. I have some 700-800 pictures on my Instagram account, and that's only been a year.
But what do you share on your Instagram?
Everything. What I eat. Sometimes I even share what I'm wearing. My socks, my shoes, new shoes. I tweet a lot of food pictures, what I'm eating, because what food my mom makes, and it looks very good. Once you.
But can I ask you a question? Like, why do you do that though?
Because we get good positive feedback from everyone. It always helps, because specifically when food comes, food is universal.
Yeah.
Everyone loves food. And the moment you Instagram a food picture, someone will say, "Oh, even I want to eat that."
You like to
that
make them
looks
feel
very
bad.
good. That looks yummy, So that's how they react, And we feel good. Okay, we've posted something and someone's appreciated us. So that is one thing on Instagram that really helps. On Twitter, how it works is how good your vids are. Okay, because you cannot really cater to everyone with the same kind of monotone. I have seen some accounts only tweet about fitness. I will not follow. It's not that I don't like fitness, but if you're only tweeting fitness 24/7, I will not. But then there are accounts which tweet about everything, about the general politics in the country, about their work, about the food, about their travel, about the TV shows, about the movies. So these are the accounts that really work, on
So
media.
you use Twitter more as a source of
Yes,
information?
for me, Twitter, yes. I don't subscribe to hard copy of newspapers. I follow the accounts, news accounts. It makes it very easy for me. I can follow all the news on the go when I'm in the car, when my driver's driving, so I can read them over there. I can catch up on the latest news. In fact, I feel the hard copy of the newspaper is what already happened on Twitter yesterday. It's like that. Because Twitter is instant. The moment something happens, there's a tweet. Okay, everyone is present everywhere, so it has a huge reach. Facebook has a huge reach. I was active on Facebook, but Facebook, there are lots of games and lots of sharing of pages and share this, like this. That becomes very much, it clutters a lot, which doesn't help much. But if you have a separate page for your business, that really helps, because the number of hits you get on Facebook, because Facebook has more users than any other social media platform. So that is it.
Okay. And what about you?
For me, I started off with Facebook when I was in school. I wasn't very active. Twitter, I started actually on it was a suggestion of my professor in university, and I wasn't very enthusiastic at first, but I've come to find that Twitter is extremely good in building your connections in real life.
I follow a lot of people that I either admire or friends, and it's a great way to kind of learn what's happening in the city, or my friends who are in New York that have come across a cool restaurant for brunch, and I love recommendations. So for me, I love that, and I'm so visual that I tend to enjoy that.
So you prefer Instagram mainly because it's more visual than like Twitter per se?
Yeah, I mean, I still use Twitter to promote my site, and I think that does well. I do get link through that, but for me on a personal level, it's Instagram.
And do you feel sometimes, like, in terms of like business, like because of like Twitter, Facebook, Foursquare, Instagram, Vine, and so on, like there's so much social media, don't you feel sometimes that like it kind of derails you from the core of your business because you want to please all these people, like people who follow you on Facebook, people who follow you on Twitter, people who follow you on Foursquare are expecting something, but like,
I mean, now I use Hootsuite, which, I mean, I've been using it for over a year now, but that makes sure that everything's active, that I'm posting on all those different, but it's really interesting. I get different kind of traffic from each of my social media channels. Like the people who click through from Facebook are different people who click through from Twitter and who click through from Instagram. So I think it's great for my site as a business because
And do you kind of, because of the click through these different social media, do you kind of create your content based on these click-throughs? You know what I mean? Like
maybe the way I word it would slightly be different. But yeah, no, not really, because I feel like at the end of the day, I still have a specific target audience for my site.
Okay. And the content that is on your, because for you, like your like the core is the website, and the rest is like just satellite.
Exactly.
So the core, the website itself is not, the content of the website is not done in accordance to...
Not really, no. I mean, I usually link through from all my social media channels for every single post that's up there.
Okay. And you guys, for example, you like your core is Twitter, right?
Yeah.
So what you want to do is get people on your Twitter account, right?
Yeah.
But you do also have a website.
Yes, website is secondary. Website is only a repository of every old curator that has been there, their bio and what they actually spoke about in general throughout the week. That's only like a it's like a database of your old curators, nothing else. It just tells you what VRUA is about and how you can apply for it and who were the ex-curators. So that website is only supplementary. Our whole core thing is Twitter. But personally, if you ask me, feedback really helps. It shapes the way I will tweet, the way I will put up pictures, the way I will, if I had a website, the way I will update it. Because ultimately, I'm there to, my business is there to please the customers. So I will take back the feedback, whatever they're giving me, and I will shape my website or whatever it is accordingly.
Okay.
And on a personal level, the greater concern about the excess of social media networks is the diminishing trend of real life interaction. It really is. I mean, because of these social media networks all being there, people don't bother interacting in real life. There's no face-to-face communication that exists too much anymore. Oh, we'll communicate on Twitter, we'll communicate on Facebook.
I think there's a great example in this because I've met him today for the first time. I know him for a year.
Yeah.
We work on the same platform.
Oh, you've never met?
I've never met. I met him today for the first time.
You was a Twitter page or Twitter picture?
I've seen his picture.
Yeah.
I've seen his picture. I know he studies in so and so place. I know what he does, but I have never met him face to face. As she said, the person interaction meeting offline has reduced these days. I know him since a year, and we are working on the same project, and I've only seen him today.
I met him 6 months after we started collaborating on the project.
So social media has some way, on a personal level, not on a business level, on a personal level, reduce the interaction of people offline. Everyone's on a phone.
Yeah.
Half of them are on phone.
Yeah, they were on the
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you see
like
the
that, it's
audience
like
right
that.
there. They're all
It's
on
like
their
that.
phones.
It's not
because
that it's
not
not
a-
helping you, but it's reducing the personal interaction between people.
If you want a business to flourish, it should like promote some kind of real world interaction, like have some tweet ups if possible, so that there's some kind of interaction with people.
Some kind of event you hold wherein you call in people who regularly give you a feedback, a proper event, an offline event, not an online event. Maybe invite them over snacks and tea or something like that. Those regular followers who keep giving you constant feedback. Because if you do not massage their ego, they will not massage your business. It's like that. It's very simple. you cannot only depend on the feedback that you get from them. You also have to provide some kind of solution to what their feedback is. So maybe an offline event or anything of that sort. Online also helps when your business is vast and transcends different countries. So then online only helps.
Yeah.
But then if you are a local business or a small business, then an event offline really boosts your business, because nothing spreads faster than a word of mouth. Even internet is slow in that case, because word of mouth is always personalized. Word of mouth is something where it's very authenticate, and internet always hides that face of you.
But Twitter kind of is trying to
Twitter
like,
is
recreate
fast.
the word of mouth.
Twitter is fast and word of mouth. Yes, again same thing. But then like say if I'm following 300 people on Twitter, I will only be taking their word for like 10 or 15 or maybe let's say 50 people. But the other 250 who are there, I might not really agree to them instantly. Maybe I'll wait for 2-3 opinions to come on the same case. It's
Yeah.
like that. But if offline, when all my people are there and I know that these are the ones who give me regular feedbacks, so then I'll take everyone's feedback at face value.
Okay. Just to like go back a little bit to the trends, because I think we kind of like because I feel trends is so the understanding of trend is so vast. I mean, how do you define trends? How would you define trends per se? Like in social media.
And in social media, trends is something which is currently happening. Like, for example, if it's during a World Cup is happening, that's a trend. To tweet about the World Cup or anything related to the World Cup is a trend. And suppose if in my timeline, if I look at this, like 10-20 tweets about football, the football World Cup, I'm like, and one person is like tweeting anything else but the World Cup, I'll be like, what's wrong with him? Isn't he like catching up with the world? Something like that. So trends basically is something with people all are connected, have a common connection with at one given point.
And do you think it's something that is linked to real life rather than like real life in a specific country, or like, I mean, if you live in Dubai, the trend might be different than if you live in Bosnia,
Yeah,
or in
different.
like Chicago.
Yes, it's totally different.
But not always. But I would say that trends are influenced by real life. They're not always directly related to real life, but then real life events definitely influence trends greatly. So, but trends are such that they don't last very long. They're very
fragile.
Very fragile. They last for very little time. They don't last very long at all. Hashtags unless they're very generic, sort of statement. Trends do not last very long at all. They last maybe 3 to 4 hours. The maximum they would last is a day.
And what's the benefit of hashtagging a trend? Like,
It's like bringing together like-minded people. It's simple. Usually, what I have seen from my personal experiences, like hashtags will only work if there's humor or if there is something of grave emergency. Like the attacks that happened in England recently. Those hashtags, went on for a long time because it was something about grave emergency. And people were, trying to connect with each other and trying to know, what's exactly happening over there. There were people who were live tweeting from the place, who had taken videos uploaded on YouTube. So these are the trends that work. There are other trends also, like as I said, people used to give away prizes and everything for an hour. So for an hour something will trend. The moment the contest is over, the trend is over.
Yeah.
It's like that. The moment you stop appealing to people, your trend is out. It's like that.
People move on to the next one.
Because
This
we are someone, we want constant entertainment in our life. No
Innovation.
matter from which profession we are or what we do, we need constant entertainment in our life. That's the reason we use social media. Entertainment is not only like movies or TV shows. It could be entertainment in the way to satiate your need for lifestyle, fashion, or whatever. In her case, it's like that. So trends depend on what you are really into much, and they will only last as long as you constantly provide feedback to the ones who are following you.
yeah.
The moment you stop interacting with people and you stop replying to people, those trends will end.
I'd say trends are like the lifespan of trends. You can compare it to the lifespan of a butterfly. As you know, the butterfly lives only for 2 days after it emerges from its chrysalis. Trends are exactly like that. As as long as it'll be out in the world, it'll be used by different people. People talk about it, people interact about it, and once it's done, it's done. People don't go back to that afterwards, unless of course there's a new current event that's related directly to that sometime later, maybe a few months later or a few years later. Then they do go back to that, but then after that a trend dies out on social media anyway.
I think there are some hashtags which live on forever, like Dubai, UAE. How does that help? Like I want to, let's say I'm in Fujairah, but I stay in Dubai. I don't know anything about Fujairah. So I say, I'm going to Fujairah. I'll be staying at so-and-so hotel. Please suggest some good restaurants around there. And I'll hashtag Fujairah. So people in Fujairah will read that and reply to me that where it is. So these are the hashtags that always live on. But then these are all very generic and, nothing related to your business or anything of that sort. These help you, on a personal level. Whereas trends, hashtags like, let's just take an example of Pavilion Dubai. This hashtag will be there throughout the 5 weeks of this event, and maybe possibly, a month more, when people are talking about it, like how it's, what happened there, what did not happen, who all were there, and, it was a good show, whatever it is. But then after some time, even Pavilion Dubai will have to come up with a new hashtag, because this cannot continue the same way, right?
Yeah.
It's like that. So a trend is normally short-lived. Hashtags can be long-lived. It's like that. Both are somewhat like that.
Yeah. And for you, Tara, for fashion, like when do you relate the trends that are happening in the real life to your tweets? Like the fashion trends in your...
No, not really. But then, for instance, if I'm covering Fashion Week, I'll hashtag, that always helps. I'll hashtag the season that I'm covering it. And then you have a lot of people that are maybe checking Twitter from their home, not from the main cities, and keep up to date with everything happening. I mean, I do hashtag. I'm not as big
of a hashtagger.
Yeah. Slowly getting into that, seeing how it would benefit. But
do you feel it would benefit, like to be like crazy hashtagging?
No, I still, I don't know. Maybe that's just me personally. I mean, I follow a lot of people on Instagram that hashtag around 20 things. I don't know how that helps. I don't know.
It looks like spam.
But
yeah,
exactly. Crazy hashtagging is always spamming. People will unfollow you immediately.
But before, like not too long ago, there was no hashtag or no like tagging on Instagram, right? Like
they keep changing. Facebook acquired Instagram, so they keep changing.
Because at one point, Instagram, like you post a picture, you put a comment, and that's it. And then now I saw like you can like tag people, like so it's like
this is
a new thing.
This is to increase and boost the number of likes on a particular post that you make on Instagram. Mostly, this is especially good for business organizations who are trying to post pictures of their products on Instagram.
Hashtag.
Yeah, there's a common hashtag. When the second that I've noticed this with my Instagram posts, I put hashtags. I do that quite often. When I post hashtags, I get about 10 to 15 likes in a second, because there are people around the world who are also on those who are also accessing those same hashtags, and they do tend to see your posts, and they do. It's Twitter in a sense, except it's instant. It's Twitter in a sense, only with visuals.
And can I ask, like, okay, because now, like, the all hashtag and, like, tagging people, it's all with the objective of, like, making that post successful. So do you measure the success of a post or of a visual through, like, the likes, the times it was shared, or, like, how do you measure the success of a post?
On Facebook, if it's shared a lot, like, the best part about it is sharing. You know how many people have seen it, how many people have known, plus they are friends. So suppose if he shares it, she shares it, then it just goes on and on. Like many people will have seen it. So you know that if 1,000 people have shared it, at least more than 1,000 people have at least viewed it once. So you know that okay, this has been successful. With at least 1,000 people, you have got your word out there. Same way with the likes. The more the likes, the better. On Twitter, it's more about retweeting. The more you retweet, the more you know that your post or your tweet is like gained success, or your concept, your idea is catching this.
And I think retweeting and favoriting is not. It doesn't depend on. It depends mainly on a few things. One, who is tweeting it. Basically, I've noticed that celebrities, whatever they tweet, whether it's absolute crap, they get retweeted and favorited about, as
100 times more.
100 times more than a normal person would. Secondly, it would be to do with the content of the tweet, how profound it is to certain people, what's the general understanding towards the tweet. That's also what influences retweeting and favoriting in terms of Twitter, and how people
Yeah, because I feel like everybody's so obsessed with numbers nowadays. Like how many like retweets did you get, or how many like clicks did you get on that picture? But I sometimes feel that like we forget.
It's a mirage.
Also
like,
depends on the number of followers that particular account has. It also really does depend on that, because there are certain people on Twitter who have an excessive number of followers, like 28,000 or 29,000, and they're not celebrities. They just tweet something that most people can relate to. So in that bargain, they get followers, and those followers retweet and favorite, and their followers retweet and favorite, and therefore it's like a long chain, or a long chain of events. So yeah.
And to find out the real success, I think the replies, the comments, the replies, how many comments you get, how many replies you get, how you interact with your customers. So once if anyone like replies to your tweet, then you know like, okay, fine, that he's getting the message. You have at least given your tweet has made sense to one person, and then if he retweets, it's a combination of retweet, replies, and all.
And comments.
Yeah.
So you would say like at the end, all this like social media, it's mainly to get like input of the people who are following you. That's the most important.
What I feel is you have 100 likes and you have one comment. But if that comment makes sense, it is more important than the 100 likes.
And also you have to another thing you have to understand about Twitter is that there's a lot of spam in that social network. The retweeting, the favoriting, and the replies are quite often generated by spam, by bots. So you can't really measure it. You can't always measure the popularity of a tweet through the retweets and the favorites and the replies. But yes, it does help.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, do you guys have any questions?
Hi. Is Ms. Tala?
Yeah.
Hi. I have a question. You said you tried different things and some things work and some things don't work. Would you please list and maybe describe some things that did not work?
In terms of social media platforms?
Yeah, social media dabbling.
You know what? I think Instagram does the best for me. I'm on Pinterest, but I feel like that's more of my personal, for my personal use. I don't think that's done really well in terms of translated into traffic or whatnot. For me, I just think Instagram is the best. It's what's doing so well. Facebook will always be there, and it's great for businesses because people always want to search the business, and I feel like it now sometimes can be in place of a website at times because you have the contact details. And for me, I just think, Instagram does the best. Twitter still does, but I think Pinterest is, I don't know how well
I think it was like, at one point everybody was on Pinterest when it came out. And then
But for me, it's never really translated into traffic, and I think the people that I follow are usually U.S. brands, people from the U.S.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna. Vine is huge in the U.S. I don't know how that's gonna translate for vloggers and.
Vine is not very popular. I mean, I've never used Vine personally. I think they may
I've
use.
tried once.
Yeah,
Every social media I've tried once. Then I come to know, whether I'll be attracted to it or not. Even Twitter was a slow start for me because I was into Facebook much more then.
Yeah.
But then I was still in my university days, and because Facebook is more like adding friends already know.
Yeah.
But then how Twitter got my interest is like I'll be following those people who I don't know personally, and these are the people, there was a very famous joke, that Facebook is a list of friends that you don't want to be friends with, and Twitter is a list of followers whom you want to be friends with, but you can't be. It's like that. There was a very, that's how it worked,
Yeah.
It used to be a point in time that I used to add people on Facebook, that people who I already knew that I add on Facebook. Nowadays, I add people who I meet on Twitter. Add to Facebook. Yeah.
Okay.
You were saying that with all of this, all these social platforms and how like we're all behind the phone, And actually, I was reading somewhere that we use our phones more for, less for the purpose,
Right.
which is to make phone calls, but actually to update our social, whatever, things, but platforms. But what do you, I mean, then you said, well, actually, like businesses online, or like, we should all interact in person, but then, I mean, it's almost like, well, these platforms were created so that we don't have to interact in person. And that actually, it's true, I have a lot of friends that I don't, but then, so what are you saying? Are we going back to, is there like a backlash to too much, non-interaction?
It depends from person to person. Some people are introvert and some are very open. So I find this, that some people can interact much more better hiding behind the wall,
Right.
of online wall, and they are able to achieve more and they are more productive that way. So it's really individual basis that what works for you.
Right.
For me, I can talk in open public. I can even talk behind the wall. So it depends, seriously. But I was not that open earlier. Earlier for me, only behind the wall worked very well. But then I've understood, that behind the wall, you don't have that personal touch. No matter how much you talk behind the wall, even if it's 24/7, you don't have the personal touch unless you meet someone in person. Because I might know, I have come across experiences where someone pretends to be something else behind the wall and it comes out separately,
But it's
something
easy
else.
to do
Yeah,
that.
it's easy to understand and all. It's easy to make out. I understand. It's not that difficult. But then a personal touch always helps. At least in personal level. Businesses, no. Businesses online is more productive than personal, because sometimes businesses are vast, and they reach across every continent. You cannot actually have a personal touch with everyone, but then online help really helps.
I mean, I find that, just to add to that, but it's that, I mean, maybe I'm old-fashioned, and I'm not part of this generation, your generation, which is the millennials, they're calling you guys. But I read this, there's a great article in Time Magazine now that is about your generation and about these people that have created like these, very successful,
Right.
even businesses online, and they have like, hundreds of thousands of followers, but, but they're not really in the real world. And for me, in my business, I mean, we do recognize the value of having social media platforms, because it is a way to access an audience, or maybe an audience that you wouldn't otherwise be able to access. But I also value and I wonder, like, maybe more Tala, like what you do, do you interact more also in real time with your
Yeah,
audiences?
so I've actually, I team up with brands quite a bit to host events, and actually it's always great to meet people that I interact with. I mean, I don't know how they look like, I don't know who those girls are, and I think I do around an event every month. I'm doing one tomorrow, and I think it's a great way to kind of meet.
Balance that
Yeah.
out.
The one thing that you need to understand about promoting your business on Twitter is that it's all on social media, for that matter. It's all fine and good to say it, but there has to be a certain amount of creativity behind it. That it needs to be done in a certain way in order to you may be doing it as much as possible, but in order to appeal to your audiences, you have to go around it and be very creative about it. The way most businesses do it is by holding competitions to get people followers to interact with them.
Right.
So you need to find some way to be creative in order to gain your followers' attention.
There is a very good example of in UAE, local Imarati brothers, the Wild Pita brothers.
Yeah.
If you know them, they had 0 followers when they started. Their business was not started yet. They started updating, their posts like, okay, I'm thinking of putting up this wall over here. How many of you like it? So they said, okay, we like it, we don't like it. Okay, what about this furniture in our restaurant? Will this work with you? Like that. So people have contributed. Only after a year of interaction with everyone did the restaurant actually come up.
And they already have.
Yeah. And so now they have done that successfully. Now they are doing Pita Planet over here. They
Yeah.
have shows, travel shows, and everything. So it works that way also.
Right.
I think there always has to be a human touch, because we're not robots.
Not yet.
we need human interaction for anything.
And the danger of interacting online on a personal level anyway, not in terms of business, but from a personal perspective, is the danger of getting catfished. Very often it happens. It's very catfish is basically when someone presents themselves as something else online, and when you see them in real life, they turn out to be something completely different, mostly negative. So
That's really scary.
that is
It
scary.
is.
It's scary. That's why it's called the catfish. It's called being catfished. So the dangers of getting catfished online in real life are very high. But then in terms that you have to take that risk when you get on social
I think
media.
jobsindubai.com is a big scam, and it's online. It's online.
Yeah,
It is
it's a big scam.
it is a huge scam. They have taken money from people online, and there are no jobs. For anyone. It's happened. If you must have read. 2 years back it was there. It was a huge thing, and it's still active. People from India are asking me. Whether this site is genuine or not.
Right.
At a point they had actually recruited people and gave them jobs, but that was initially to create a word of mouth that this is actually genuine, but it was not later on. So
Right.
they create a platform to show everyone that it's genuine, and then it's a huge game, and then later on everything changes and everything falls flat.
It's very simple to fool people through this method, but the thing is, it's getting to be a little more trustworthy nowadays. But still, that you have to be a little wary of it.
And one thing is that local businesses should involve the customers for if the customers, like how Kunal explained, if they say that how is this wall, they feel like there's some sense of attachment towards the
They have
business
an input.
already. Like they have somehow contributed to the business. Like once they go to the restaurant, oh, I said I like this wall. So
Right.
some kind of attachment is there.
Yeah.
The watch business like Nike, Adidas, they can't do it because it'll be very difficult for them. They are catering to a large audience. But local businesses, they should look to do it, because then the people will have more than the normal attachment of just a service or a product. They'll be like, yes, I've contributed in this way to the restaurant or this way to the business.
The best example is Wild Peter, because I think they've used it
They have
greatly to their advantage.
They don't only just have the restaurant; they also have this book club meetings. It's called Twit Book Club. It's on Twitter. They tweet live updates on that, and every alternate Saturday there's a meeting of all these kids and adults. We've had Alexander McNabb was there last week over here. He also attends those meetings from time to time, and it's a huge club now. It started with 2 people. It's around 20-40 people now. Some people sit in the restaurant, and most of them are online, on Twitter, and they interact during these book sessions. And Wild Peter earns nothing in that sense. Of course, people who eat over there is a different thing. It's a way to promote your business, but it's creative way.
It's just their way of
It's a
getting
personal
involved
touch.
in the community,
Yeah.
which is a good initiative. It shows their care and concern, which is excellent.
Yeah.
Other questions? Jessica?
Just talking about this whole sense of behind the wall and facelessness and anonymity, how do you feel it impacts your business? Because I haven't really heard anyone speak about YouTube or Keek, which is actually highly popular in the UAE and it's really visual. So, and this is actually another type of trend that it goes viral. I mean, you've seen Gangnam Style, which reached billion views and that kind of thing. So, how come there hasn't really been much talk about YouTube and Keek? and more
YouTube works a lot in UAE. Yes, I
Yes,
agree.
we agree with that.
It helps the business a lot, but it depends again on what business you're doing, right? You cannot have a YouTube video of an accountant firm of setting up their business. No one will be interested. What furniture an accountant firm uses.
I beg
But
to
if it's
differ.
a rest-
if you have a behind the scenes and you really have that, like you were saying, you have a connection with the consumers
Right.
or your followers or whatever. Why do people not want to implement that more into their business? Because I personally would much rather like to see who I'm dealing with. Like you said, the catfishing, kind of reduces that.
Your question actually relates more to a personal perspective on being on social media. Now the thing is that there are, I'll take an example of people who have use YouTube as a way to express themselves. There are different YouTube people who become celebrities simply because of YouTube. But yes, they do relate to you. They do talk about things that interest you. But at the end of the day, you don't really understand who they really are. You don't understand what motivates them, what drives them. You just know them as this personality online. You don't know them. You don't know what makes them tick. You don't know what drives them. So in that sense, yes, there is an anonymity and
On a-
lack of a personal touch.
On a personal level, I'll tell you, I have 2 accounts on Twitter. One is on my own name, okay, and the other one is for only my TV shows, which I tweet. And you will not believe I have only followers from US and UK on that, and they don't know I'm sitting in UAE because I don't tweet I'm in UAE. I only tweet about TV shows, about what episode happened, about what things happened. That's the only thing I have on that. And people don't know who I am, who or not. People still interact with me over there. It's like that, So it really depends on what business you're doing and what kind of followers you have everywhere.
And what I to add to that, even when it comes to YouTube, I think it's about the timings because people don't want to spend, if they're on a go,
Yes.
they don't want to spend more than a max 2 to 3 minutes on the video.
Yeah.
Unless they want to get entertainment. So it's only when they want some entertainment, they kind of log on to YouTube or something like that to actually watch the video. But it would make sense for maybe like when it's fashion shows or things like that, or when you want to go like behind the scenes, like what happened, and when you do it as a quick snapshot, I think that it works better when it's on YouTube.
YouTube is pretty popular on the move as well. I mean, we have iPhone apps and Android apps as well for this.
Yeah, but
we agree with you. We do agree with you that
Because
yes.
we discussed that, right? Because images are used more and only a line of text because that captures very fast.
I have to disagree. We only do videos. Like our content is like 100% videos. We don't do pictures. Like we have a blog. We do post pictures on Facebook.
But you cater to
sometimes.
that public, right?
But
You
our
actually
like
sit in,
we say video has like a word has a video equals like 1,000 words, because for me, like if I see a picture of a restaurant taken from a very beautiful angle on Instagram with like layers of
Filters and all.
like filter, it's not really, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, that looks nice. I'm going to be like, yeah, that photographer's like damn good. But if I see a video and I see like someone talking about the food,
Yes.
I think a video is much more like real than any picture, any post, any like I'm a firm believer in video. Like totally like not staged. Like a video is not like we don't do like we use video for social media. Like we use video as our mean to get the word out there, like to talk about Dubai, what's happening in the city, to talk about the people of Dubai. Everything about the city is done through video, and we don't like make Hollywood movies where we like beautify. We just film things as they are. So when we film in a restaurant, we go there with a camera, we film the kitchen, we film the food. And for me, like as like someone who consumes, and I'm like a video addict, so I watch a video, I'm like, okay, I feel like eating there because it looks good. Like the chef looks a bit like weird. It looks interesting. So for me, like a video is much more powerful than any like kind of like text, any kind of image that you can think of, and it's not like, because for me social media kind of tends to beautify things. Yeah, Facebook makes you feel that like you're super hot, that you have a lot of friends. Twitter makes you feel that you're very intellectual. Instagram makes you feel that like you're a really good photographer. I swear, I take photos of my feet, I post them on Instagram with like, put some like some nice filter, put some like motion, and I have people liking them, and I'm like, wow, like I'm a really good photographer. But it like it makes you kind of not in touch with reality. Whereas video for me is like real, it's raw, it's the reality. So
no, but I was saying that I remember saying that Dubai is an extremely fast-paced city. People don't have the time to sit and process large amounts of information. A video usually delivers that with images and with short bits of text. Information is condensed in a very short
No, it really
short
depends
form.
on your target audience.
And it depends on your target audience. I would actually sit and watch your videos and save time for it. But if I were to be on the move and on the go, images and short bits of text would be the ones that would appeal to me the most. So
yeah, and if you're a business, what you want is you want to gain like immediate attention of the consumer. Like, yeah, this is my business. So in 2 minutes you can actually gain some attention instead of 20-minute video about showing how it works and all that. They'll be like, oh, 20 minutes too long. I don't have time for that. But 2 minutes, yes, I have time. I can take out 2
like,
I'm
minutes.
sorry, the lady at the back had a question.
Yeah, sorry.
You wanted
No, I
to
just
ask
wanted
us?
to talk about video. It's just a lot more difficult to consume. I mean, everything that you said, I agree with 100%. But I kind of like the fact that everything is so much prettier through Instagram, thanks to Instagram and everything. And I think that, something so simple like Facebook does not enable GIFs or GIFs, whatever you want to call them. And to me, I don't understand, why can I not share my GIFs and my GIFs on all these platforms? And same with video. It's a lot more difficult to consume in the sense that not all platforms are compatible, or this video cannot be played in your region, or your Flash player needs updating, or it's harder to consume it. Not to mention the fact that there's no time, whereas you're at the back of the cab going somewhere, you run through Instagram, suddenly I know what everybody's up to.
until they start putting videos in cabs, which is like
I think
what they
there's
have
one
now
video
in
that
New York. Like you go out there and you have all the videos, and you're just there like on the touch screen, like watching videos, 2 minutes.
Which is great until it's the second and third cab ride and it's the same video over and over again. Then it's not so great anymore. But like, I love video as well, and I understand where you're coming from. Possibly for a different reason. I don't like it because it's real. I like it because it actually offers you so much more creatively, and you can really tell a narrative through video. Whereas, you know, a picture is a picture. I mean, although I love both. I think they work very beautifully in different ways. But personally, what frustrates me is just the fact that, for me, let's say I made a video, I want to share it with people. From a marketing perspective, it's very difficult for me to make sure that my target audience sees that video, because it's going to go into their Outlook, it's not going to open, they're going to think it's spam.
But I think this is why there are companies that their job is to do video marketing. I mean, you see more and more of them popping up, like video marketing platforms, because like if you send them via like mail, it's more difficult, but then you have video distribution channels. And the difference between video, text, and image is that a video you can like measure like much more who's watching the video, when they stop, what did they like more, you can create hotspot. But then again, I'm like a big video, like my life is video.
So, no, but then that's my question to you. How do you get people to watch your videos?
You have to parts like, you know what we say, like, because the company behind My Dubai My City is the traveling shoe. So My Dubai My City is just a platform. As a traveling shoe, what we do is we create videos and make them work for your business. When we say that, I mean, like, let's say you come to me and you say, I want to make a video about, like, I don't know, Emirates Water. So we come up with a cool concept for Emirates Water, either one video or like a web series, and then we develop. What differs from like traditional advertising is that they would give you that video and say, here you go, take that video and like now pay, I don't know, $1 million dirhams to put it on NBC or like CNN or whichever. Today everybody's online, whether it's on like mobiles, on their iPad, like everybody has access to information everywhere. So the job that we do as a traveling shoe is to distribute that video on different channels, including My Dubai My City because it's local, YouTube because it reaches, and other channels that we think work for what you're looking for. So video is much easier to like spread around on different channels than like a TVC nowadays, or like.
But how? How do you, like, what channel?
You have to create networks. Like, it depends. If you're looking for like fashion, like you're doing a fashion video, so we would put it on a fashion video website, fashion video platform. It depends on what you're looking for.
So like, it's basically like
video distribution. It's called video distribution.
Yeah, just like, you know, so it's all about contacts. It's kind of like a PR activity, really.
That's exactly, yeah. I mean, that's what we do. Jordy is here with me. Like, he helps me. We work together on this. So we do videos and distribute them. So
I still think it takes more effort.
Yeah, I think one
but it's
video
more efficient though.
And I find that it's not real time as well. Like when you're sharing pictures, I know what people are up to at that moment. Whereas I feel like, for instance, if I've teamed up with a brand and we did an event and they shot a video, people won't see that till a few days later.
Yeah.
Well, that depends also on like, because you can
like
do
I
live
just don't
stream.
think I think it's great. I just don't think it's real time. And also on my site, for instance, if I had maybe 3,000 people clicked on this post, and then I'll have like 150 to 200 people that saw the video. So that means that they actually went and clicked through the post and saw everything else, but they didn't have time to click on the video and watch it. So when you mentioned why didn't we speak it, for me, I just didn't feel like, I feel like it takes a lot of effort and time and money and whatnot, but then I don't know. Like
I
that's
mean,
my
because people have a
readership and my-
misconception of video, because they think video is like time consuming. It's very costly, but I mean, our understanding of video is at My Dubai My City and the channel
I'd like
shoe
to bring in something here. Images do. See, we retain a lot of images in our head very in a very short span of time. Now, supposing there's a new film that's going to be that's going to start shooting, and during shooting there are celebrities on set who click pictures, and you see these pictures and you're like, oh, okay, you know, this movie's happening, and then it's in the back of your mind, and then when you watch the trailer, which is months later, which is a video platform of communicating information, you're like, oh yeah, I do remember this. Somebody clicked a picture of this. I remember seeing this. So images are faster and they're more effective from a.
But again, it depends what you want to do with that post, right? Like it really depends on what your objective is. with
Yeah, I
that.
mean, most people will be like, okay, then when they see the trailer somewhere else accidentally, they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember this. I'd seen a picture of it a few months ago. So yeah, or a year ago.
I think the two are complementary. I
Yeah.
don't think it's an either-or situation
Yeah.
at all. And
Yeah.
Mostly the type of content and the type of business that you have. Like when you talk about music, you can never, comprise that in a picture.
Yes.
When it comes to music, it has to be videos or it has to be audios. So I think it depends a lot.
I think
on the
music
kind
is
of-
very, very different.
I'm just saying like
saying
what are
altogether.
performances or something like that. When
Yeah.
it comes to
Yeah.
things like that, it's definitely a video that's going to work. So I think it depends a lot on the content and the kind of work or creative field you are in or whatever your business
Yeah.
is.
The lady over
I'd
there.
like to contribute on that. My
Yeah.
name is Lillian. I'm with
Hi, Lillian.
Social.
Yeah.
I work as a community manager. And one thing we've realized is with social media, you have to take a very strategic approach to it. Because there's so many options right now. There's so many platforms. So personally, well, I look at social media as a wardrobe. You cannot take your business and decide you're going to, wear everything in your wardrobe that particular day. So what we do is when you have like your brand, for example, we have to run before we decide you're going to do a video for your brand, or you're going to go to Facebook with your brand, or you're going to go to Twitter. You have to research first of all, who is your audience, and what kind of a person is looking to interact with your brand. And once you identify these personas and you classify them, I'm looking for 24-year-old Emirati lady who drives this kind of a car, lives in this neighborhood, then you identify where will this kind of persona be based on the internet. And we run sort of analytics on the website to sort of set up queries on the internet using like social media analytics tools like Engager and Social Baker to find out where is this person based, the people who are talking about your brand. For example, if it's fashion or if it's, My Dubai, where are they talking about it? Are they talking about your brand on Foursquare, and are you there when they're talking about it? Are they talking about it on Facebook? Are the mentions you're getting on YouTube comments, or are they on Twitter? And once you find out where your target market is, then you're able to decide, do I want to go with, should I go with YouTube only, or should I go with Facebook only, or should I use Facebook and Twitter and completely forget about, and completely forget about YouTube? Because all the social media platforms cannot really work for every brand. You have to identify what are the top 2, for example, social media platforms that will work on my brand. And should I start with Facebook on phase 1 and launch my business on Facebook, and then phase 2 go to Twitter and do a YouTube video? And you cannot like do it all together. So in my opinion, for some brands, YouTube is exactly what you should be doing. It might actually be the only thing you should be doing. And Facebook could be a complete waste of time depending on where you're. There are certain people who are not on Facebook at all. If you're trying to sell Bugatti or a car that they only make two cars in a year, if you're going to Facebook, you're not going to connect with your clients, your target audience over there. So what I would recommend is to first do like a background look and sort of your business is a keyword. Search it online, use the social media analytics tools, and find out where is your audience at. Are you getting more mentions on YouTube than you're getting on Twitter and Facebook? And that warrants, if you're really looking to target these particular people, then you really should go through YouTube. If not, then get easy.
I mean, she's absolutely right. I mean, see, we're very limited in terms of our social networks. We're only Twitter, Instagram, and we just have a website. But that's what works for us. We just need that to be able to reach out to our followers, and that's it. So yeah.
For us, like a YouTube account won't make sense for us at all.
Yeah, Facebook doesn't make sense for us at all. I mean, we don't have a Facebook page.
Can I ask a question which is connection to music? So in bandwidth countries, for example, South Africa is a bandwidth constrained country. If you want to listen to music, you have to listen to an audio, you have no choice. But why is it that if you take an image of an album cover and press the play button, it's different to going to YouTube to press, to see the video? Why is it that music seems to be associated closer to YouTube than a static image. And why is music proving popular on YouTube? What's going on there?
I think
The
this
thing is about experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like when you listen something, you experience something. So at the same time,
This is more of a
if
question.
you see what you're listening is an added value, right?
Yeah.
So because at the end I can put my CD on my home or in the car and I can just like look at that.
See,
And then
personally, I don't
CD.
use YouTube for music.
Yeah.
I'll only go to YouTube to watch a video if someone tells me, oh, that video has been shot beautifully. Or when there's something good in the video, I'll go to YouTube. Or else a static image music works.
And your question is more to do with whether a person needs visuals with their music more than social media itself. And there are some people who just, who imagine their own situations with music. They
Yeah.
relate life, they relate incidents in their life to different things, to different forms of music. Some people need need visuals to relate that music to. So that's probably why it's gaining popularity, because they need those visuals to relate their music to. It's not nothing to do with social media.
We have 3 minutes for her last question. Go.
This is a question for VRUE. So I'm just curious about the process of how you decide on who you will have on rotation.
See,
for that
we
week.
have a
And,
website. We have a website which says, if you are interested, please drop in a line at vrue@gmail.com. So all our followers, every time a curator goes out, she or he announces that if you are interested, please drop in a line. So they send in a line that they are interested on the Gmail. I access them. I usually get 6 to 7 requests in a week, not more than that. Or sometimes I get 0 requests in a week.
Do you personally meet these people?
No, I don't meet. I told you, he has been working on the project with me. I met him today after a year, personally.
Okay,
Online,
so-
I have been talking to him a lot. I don't even have his phone number or anything. I still don't have it. Okay, but I met him today for the first time because we are coming for this panel. So how it works, when people send me an email, so what I do is first thing I go and check their personal account. What kind of tweets they have. I don't want anyone to be, abusing the account, via UAE. It's a social platform, it's a community platform. I don't want someone to come and use foul language or someone to put UAE into a bad light,
But how do you reduce the risk
No.
of yourself getting catfished?
No, exactly. So what happens is, we get these lines, and I usually come to, I can vet people based on their tweets. It's not. I usually what I do is I go through at least 50 to 60 tweets, recent tweets, and most of our curators are, suggested by ex-curators. That so and so person is good, so and so person is nice, so you can take them on. I get 6 to 7 requests, so I choose which is the best one. I check for their availability for the week concerned, because sometimes some are traveling, someone is working, someone has a lot of workload, but they're still interested to tweet. So I put them on a hold. I say that I'll come back to you when slot opens up, and I'll take you in. I haven't rejected anyone till date. Whatever requests I have, either have already curated or are put on a hold, on a line, because we cannot give everyone the same week, right? So I may get even 50 requests in a day, but I have to give only one person the account in a week. So usually it's first come, first serve. But then it also depends, on how I vet their tweets. It's a personal way to check that. So far, we have not had any issues. We may get catfished in the future, but we have ways to tackle, in a sense that no one can change the password. The moment they change, we change it from here. The moment we have 3 admins. So I am someone who's usually 24/7 on Twitter. Even though I have a professional life separate from that, my Twitter is always on, and I always keep a tab on what VRUA is tweeting from time to time. So if the moment I find something offensive, something mildly offensive, it can be deleted by me. It has not happened yet, and if the moment I see someone, trying to catfish us, we can just change the password and block the person.
And do you insist that they keep kind of authenticity? For example, that woman who went to different Emirates, did she just do that because she was a curator?
Yes, obviously. See, there are some people who
doesn't that take away from the authenticity,
No, it's not like that. The person's tweets were very much on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to, show UAE to everyone, all the followers. Now this was in the 4th or 5th week. We hardly had 200-300 followers, and what she wanted to do is, the followers asked her, that tell us something about the UAE and this and that. And she's a housewife and she can drive. So what she did is she said, okay, every day I'll go to one emirate. I'll take my personal experience of what I have seen in the past. I'll post pictures from them, what they are today. I'll go to my favorite restaurant. So that's all personal touch. right? That's all authentic touch. There's nothing like, okay, she has to go to Armani restaurant to show that, oh, this is Dubai. No. She went to the local Kamat restaurant, oh, this is what I like, it's like that. So that's how the personal touch comes in. And obviously, yes, she took the 7-day tour, for the followers, so that they come to know, what's happening behind the handle and all that, and what UAE is about. Initially, all our curators were like that, and they spoke about, what UAE is. Some were talking about the currency in the UAE, the rulers of the UAE, what do you get the best in the 7 Emirates, how good the gold souk is, and all that. All that happened earlier. It was all gestation period, growing. And now recent curators are more into world trends and broader UAE trends. Instead of talking about what's best in Dubai, obviously someone asks them that okay, can you just please suggest something good? And if the curator knows, they'll reply.
And alright, we're gonna have to stop now. Like we're
Sure.
over time. So thank you all for coming, and hope you join the rest of the.
We have another talk that starts at 6, and it's called Instagrammy, and it's going to discuss the rise of Instagram with Melina from Source, Elliot Brown from Rudy Boy Brown. So please stay, it'll be really good.
Thank you.
Thank you.